Welcome to the MissJudged Podcast. I am your host, Alyssa, if you didn't remember.
I am your co-host, Teresa.
And today we are joined with a special guest, my friend for many years, Ralph.
Probably 8 years, right? I think at least 8 or 10
time.
years.
No, it's probably 10 years.
Probably 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
A decade is a long time.
A long time. I was in my 40s back then.
Wait, so Ralph Sutton, tell everybody about you real quick.
Business-wise, life-wise, what do you want?
Everything. Give me the freaking rundown. Give me
Native
the
New
basics.
Yorker, born in Brooklyn, right?
Okay.
I have a twin brother. We are 54, soon to be 55. Our birthday is New Year's Eve, and we're twins born in different decades because I was born New Year's Eve, 1969 at 11:58 p.m.
Oh, my God.
And he was born 4 minutes later at 12:02 a.m. So we're the first twins ever that were born in different decades.
That's so cool.
That is like the crazy.
Yeah.
I always forget that story.
Yeah,
That's
and,
crazy.
so
I'm
cool.
6'5" and a half, 6'6". He's 5'7". We look nothing alike. He lives in Florida now, but I was born here in New York. I used to be a nightclub promoter. I was a radio DJ for 20 years. I had a show that was on about 100 stations around the world that led to me being an MTV VH1 host for a while, hosting tons of rock music festivals for years. And then somewhere along the way, I got into food, and I went to cooking school. I ran a restaurant for 4 years. I helped build the company Juice Press here in New York, if you know it. And him and I,
if you know it.
well, maybe not. You know. Him and I do a health podcast together called the Good Sugar Podcast because we have a store on 3rd Avenue and 69th Street, all vegan, no single-use plastic.
Oh, my God.
And then my main vocation is when I left radio, I started a podcast 10 years ago called the SDR Show, Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. And I've interviewed every rock star, comedian, porn star you can think of. And then I started a network called Gas Digital, which has 20 shows, all podcasts. Collectively, we do about, I think, 5 million listeners a week. Sums up me for the most part.
That's
So-
amazing, honestly.
Low-key flex.
Yeah.
So
Humble brag.
So he does everything. No, but you're a good cook too.
I went to cooking school for a year, and
Yeah.
I ran the restaurant for 4 years. I still love to cook, but when I left the restaurant, it took me like fucking a year to be able to go into a restaurant to actually enjoy it without highlighting all the mistakes that I was stemming.
I was thinking that actually because I worked in restaurants. Obviously, when I started my company, I was working in every facet of a restaurant to pay my bills. And why are all the chefs like that?
It's something to do with that industry. Like certain
Literally.
industries gravitate towards certain people.
Yeah, they're all
and I think
psychotic.
the psychotic nature
Yeah.
of the intensity of a kitchen,
Yeah.
just like a lot of actors are certain types of people, a lot of
Yeah.
comics are certain type of people, and I think the energy that would promote a good chef is a chaotic environment, so that type of that person will thrive in that environment.
No,
Yeah.
they're really egomaniacs though.
Yeah, it's crazy. A lot of drugs, like much.
Yeah,
so it was
lots
funny.
of
I was a
drugs.
strip club DJ at the same time I was working at the restaurant, right? And at the time when my father was still alive, he used to tell me he wants me out of the strip club. Too much drugs, too much nonsense, too much sex. Go, want you to work full time in the restaurant. And I was like, Dad, when I go into the restaurant in the morning, there's more cocaine in the bathrooms at the
Yeah.
restaurant
Yeah.
than there ever was at the strip club. They expect it, so
No.
they monitor the hell out of it. So it's crazy.
That makes
No,
sense.
there's so much. Like everybody had such a problem. First of all, they were all alcoholics, hardcore, but everything was being utilized.
It's much more, I think, it's a very destructive environment, not more so than a strip club, but it was a very destructive
I
environment.
mean, that was the environment I was in when I saw cocaine for the first time, was in the restaurant industry.
Yeah. It is crazy.
Oh, I was
pretty-
at Penn State and it was on a nutrition book, which
Oh,
was the
nice.
funniest
that's
thing
funny.
ever. They were like, "Do you want to partake?" I'm like, "The irony of this is just too much for me right now."
What's
But
crazy
thanks.
is I have a show called Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, but I had never done any drugs in my life. I smoked pot once, and I
Yeah.
worked in rock clubs. I toured with bands. Like I have been around it, but I just
Yeah.
never wanted to do it personally. And when we started the show and it started getting more popular, people would shit on. It's called Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll. I mean, you could bring on rock stars and porn stars. There are no drug stars.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do
Charlie
that.
Sheen.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one. So I said, okay, if we break 1 million listeners, I'll try a fucking drug on the show. So in
Wait,
radio,
so it was
in radio,
LSD.
the funny thing is that things happen once. Radio was live. You do it once, it never happens again. But in podcasting, it lives forever.
Right.
So people, when the show started to get more popular, went back to those first few episodes and said, hey, you broke 1 million listeners. What happened to the doing a drug? So for 6 years in a row, well, not including the pandemic, I didn't want to do drugs in my house by myself. That'd be weird.
I did a weed edible once by myself, and it got really weird.
It doesn't seem like a logical thing to me. So I've tried now 6 different drugs, all once, all never again, hated them all, would never do any of them again.
Wow.
Yeah, but I did say now I could say I've done 6 drugs.
I do have a little question though. So getting into a podcast about sex and drugs and rock stars and not doing it, as a man, did you feel imposter syndrome?
No, I'll tell you why. So when I was doing radio, the show was called The Tour Bus, and it was a pretty big show for a while. And then they offered me a morning show. And I thought, well, this is a funny idea. Back then I had energy. I was younger, I was 30-something. I go out at night and party.
Wait, are you saying that we are going to lose our energy?
You're going to lose your energy.
I've already lost it coming into my 30s.
I've lost my energy
I
for
used to work in radio until midnight, from midnight to 6 in the morning was my first radio job. And then I would drive 2 hours to the restaurant and start my 8 in the morning shift and work all day and never do drugs. I just can't do that anymore.
That's impressive. And 30. No drugs?
Yeah, no drugs.
I couldn't do that at this age, even still.
Yeah, no, now I can't do it now. But so the idea was calling the show Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll as a radio show 25 years ago. And I would go out to nightclubs, and whoever was still with me at 6 in the morning, bring them to the radio show and talk about the chaos of the night before was the idea.
And they were still on drugs.
Yeah, and they'd also be on drugs. That was why I got the name.
Do them real quick.
So I had the logo, the website, I had the imaging, and everything ready to go. But then they told me what they were offering me financially, and I was like, I don't think I want to fucking do this. So I didn't do it and just kept my regular show. And then when my original co-host, a comedian named Big J. Okerson, and I were going to do a podcast together, he said, what should we call it? And I said, how about this? I said, if we call it Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, you know what you're in for. First of all, white men are going to click on it. I was like, that's one of 100,000. That's why I called it that. It was a preemptive idea to say, well, people will see that and you're like, oh, this is fun. And it's a phrase. It's common vernacular. You can't copyright it because it's a common vernacular phrase,
I get that.
Interviewing people who are strung out from a long night actually sounds like a lot of fun.
It would have been fun.
Yeah,
it would have been really fun.
You would hear, first of all, everybody would probably have to lawyer up though and be like, look, you got to take that down.
Because I was a nightclub promoter when I was younger too. And so that was like, I had all the ties with all the nightclubs and stuff. So it just made such good sense. It would have been a fun show. I figured I could do it for about a year. It would get popular, and then either I'd give it over to someone and step down or whatever, but it just...
No, nightclub life no longer exists.
Yeah, New York,
it does not exist anymore. It's actually depressing as fuck.
Wait, what do you mean?
It's not the same at all, and it's depressing. Like, if you go to a club now, it's not like when I first moved to New York and, like, all of the legendary clubs were still here.
Yeah.
They were popping. Nobody had phones, and they could, like, record people, and everything was, like, just happening in the moment. Now it's, like, common ground.
It's awful.
What are these clubs? Everybody's wearing jeans and a black crop top and sneakers.
What killed it was...
I want to see the struggle of girls walking on the cobblestone and meatpacking with the heels, where we had to walk on our tiptoes and look like little dinosaurs so we wouldn't die.
I wanted to do a blog called walkofshame.com where you find people obviously walking home miserable from their life choices that night. But I was a DJ at Limelight, which is a legendary nightclub.
Near my apartment.
I was a promoter at Palladium. These were the clubs that held 5,000 to 7,000 people. That doesn't exist in Manhattan anymore.
Yeah, that's
the law's changed, so you can't.
I mean, there was always like Webster Hall.
Yeah, it was fine. That was after you. If you thought you caught the tail end of the nightclub, then you caught nothing.
I didn't. No, I didn't. I mean,
and bottle service ruined it too. Bottle service was the dumbest idea ever. Because
really?
So interesting. Yeah. Okay, I'm learning a lot.
Okay, wait. We can talk about this for. All right, our topic today. All right, is men and women. Can they actually be friends?
Okay.
And there's like a lot of ins and outs to this one because I feel like everyone has very strong opinions about it, especially like if they're in a relationship versus single. So, okay, obviously me and you have been friends for a long time.
Right.
How did we meet?
Right. Well, so let me say this. Start with,
yeah.
When I was in college, I was in a psychology class and they said, bring up a topic for the classroom to discuss. So my topic was men and women cannot be friends.
No, they can't.
Really?
No, I agree with you.
And I got, at the beginning of the class, 80% of the class was against me. And at the end of the class, 80% of the class was on my team.
So, fun fact about me, I have one of my degrees is in psychology.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I have 2 very useless degrees. One of them is in psychology. So the whole pop psychology thing is like super interesting to me that now it's like super cool to like pretend like you know all the terms and they're being used really wrong a lot. But yeah, according to psychology studies, men and women apparently can be platonic friends after they've had sex and like been together physically. They can be platonic, which is, I feel like it's very situational.
First of all, the only way you can truly be friends is a few caveats. One, neither one of you can be attracted to the other.
Well,
right?
that's
That
where
doesn't
that doesn't
happen.
happen.
It does
That's
happen.
why it's
Men
impossible.
are always wanting to see us naked.
Yeah.
There are girls
Even if
that
you
I'm
spend
friends
enough
with.
time with someone you're not attracted to, they can grow on you, especially for women.
Maybe for women, because women are not physical based. Men are. Women are more based on emotional and provider and things like that. That's why you could take a guy that's not that good looking, make him a billionaire or a rock star, and then all of a sudden women find him attractive.
Oh yeah, I've had
Unemployed
this
Pete
debate with
Davidson
ex.
is not good looking.
He's disgusting to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Pete Davidson.
He did fuck like the hottest women on the planet. But so if
I don't get it because he's also not funny. He's also not funny to me.
I kind of get it because of his like personality, but like he's not my traditional type.
Right, but also his personality is irrelevant if he's a homeless guy. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's because he is who he has this person, and then once he has been known as having sex with other super high value women, it makes him more attractive to women who are seeking guys that have perceived high value.
I mean, even Tom Sandoval has a hot girlfriend, and that guy got canceled by the world.
That guy is.
But if you ask a guy, hey, see that girl over there? And I'm not attracted to her. Well, she's a billionaire. And the guy be like, okay. Like, I'm still not attracted to her.
Oh, I have known men that would
again,
disagree
nothing
with
is
that.
an absolute. Nothing is 100%
Right,
absolute.
totally.
It's crazy. I'm talking about norms of like maybe 70%, you know?
I definitely think that. But okay, here's what I also have felt over the years. I feel like guys are usually friends with girls they are attracted to because they're hoping at some point they will have sex with them.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you. For
Why
owning that.
why do so many men like not own that?
Yeah,
they'll be like
I don't know.
they'll be friends with the hottest girls ever and I'll be like, there was never, and they'll lie to my face. Like, no, I never.
Here are some caveats though. So for me, if my brother is interested in another girl or dated another girl, I look at them like a sister now. I don't find them attractive. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
In fact, there's this
Your brher. What about your best
also
friend?
very good friends. So, but I'm using my brother because there's the reason why I bring it up for a specific reason. There's a girl I've been friends with for years. She's still is a pretty famous actress. Her name is Jennifer Esposito. She's been in a ton of movies, TV shows. Arguably a beautiful woman, right?
Yeah.
But my brother, I think they dated once when we were kids, but they've been friends forever, whatever. I never looked at her that way. I just couldn't. It'd be like sleeping with my sister, and that would be weird if I had a sister. But when someone in your life is connected to them in some way, it's much easier because they're no longer on the table. Any girl that is not connected to you, you always think as a man, maybe one day, given the right circumstances, something might happen.
I will tell you this. I've never had more close friends of exes slide into my DMs than, okay, like there is no bro code.
Well, again,
you're loyal.
But again, for sure. That's for sure. That's
the amount of
different.
like friendships I could have ended that I just never was like, I'm just going to ignore this because this is going to make it awkward for everyone and the messenger always gets shot.
Right.
But
that's why also I don't like to talk in absolutes. I'm just going to, I can give from my perspective,
Yeah.
But like there was a girl that I was so into, and we actually went out on a date once, and and then I found out that she used to date a good friend of mine, and immediately was like, okay, I can't. It just feels too weird, and I just backed away.
Even if it wasn't like a really meaningful relationship, if it was just like casual dating, you're still also.
It still
off
feels
the
weird to
table.
me. I mean, I don't like say you never know, 100%. But up until this point in my life, which is I'm gonna be 55 in a couple of weeks, it hasn't happened. Where I just feel awkward. I don't want to know, like.
Well, okay, so what would you consider like being in the friend zone?
So for me, I'm hyper aware of a lot of things about me. I am a monster, 6'6". I scare people.
Yeah.
So I try to always be very, I hate to use the word, but like demure, it's the word of the year, right? Very laid back and not try to be I don't hit on women in public ever. Because I feel like it's this Frankenstein's trying to come in my pants, I
know. Well, you are demure. I mean, full disclosure, guys, I have like a 6-pound dog. He's very teeny tiny, and you've been around him, been super gentle.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy.
Like I'm actually not. I wouldn't be afraid that you would kill him the way that a 5'10" man would.
We know it's also. I wouldn't do that to a dog if I didn't know the person.
Well, yeah.
And I've been very often women I've dated will say, "Well, you're not threatening." I'm like, now, because we know each other, but purposely, even like, I wish more men, and I'm not trying to sound like a super in touch with myself, but whenever a girl comes home with me, right? If I bring a girl home for the first time, the idea of what that feels like for the girl, meaning you have to forget about trusting me. You're trusting your own instincts that I'm not a killer. that I'm not crazy because I can, and I
well,
can
like
probably
you're not
beat up
getting
most
away
women.
with anything, though. I
don't
mean,
know.
everyone remembers you.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too.
Maybe like that 5'2" girl came in with that 6'6" man. Like that's memorable, I think.
But I try to make the woman feel super fucking comfortable.
Yeah.
It just.
But even your
takes a lot.
friends, though?
No, that's it. There's one girl I'm trying to.
Yeah, but no, with your friends.
Yeah,
Because like we've never, you know what I mean?
Right.
So like, what do you consider like actually, if you were to be put in the friend zone or if you put someone in the friend zone that's a girl, like what does that look like for you?
Well, I have tried, if I try more than, let's say, twice to get a girl out physically and it doesn't work, then I feel it just starts to become sad, you know? But the flip side of that, which is why I think most men are creeps, because I have like Hail Mary moves that have worked more times than they've not.
Yeah.
So that's why I think most men do think they have chances, you know?
Yeah.
Like just saying to a girl that I've been in the friend zone with forever, hey, I'm going to fucking Mexico for the weekend. The girl I was dating backed out. It's a fucking great place. It's all expenses paid. Just come with me.
Yeah.
Will work a lot.
Oh, well,
And it will flip a girl from not looking at you as projectively someone that you'd be romantically interested in to all of a sudden like, well, that sounds fun.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
fun
I
always
would still go.
Yeah, you're both coming tomorrow,
Fun
which
always
is wild.
wins.
Like, I wasn't even planning
No,
it.
but like fun is fun. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so like it's easy to become friends with each other if you're like doing fun things together. I feel like that's like when it's more easy. Like I've been on dates before where I literally told the guy afterwards, and I don't normally do this because I'm a queen ghost, but I literally, guys, I have a problem. I normally am like, no chemistry, but whatever. And like one time I said to a guy, like, I really enjoy you and I would love to be friends. And unlike other people, he didn't tell me to go fuck myself and curse me out. He was like, okay, do you want to see a movie tomorrow? And then I sucked at being a friend because I got really busy and we never linked up. But like, I loved his receptiveness because you just, first of all, you never know what can happen.
Right. And there's many girls in my life that were friends for a while.
Yeah.
But it also depends on the dynamic of that friendship. Like we'll tell the girl, well, just so you know, I don't pay for my friends' dinners. Well, so, you know, if you're looking to go out with me as a friend, but still get, you know, free meal, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And if a girl is okay with that, then I'm fine with it.
Well, see, that's the thing. There needs to be boundaries in friendships with men and women because I have dated men that have friends that are female and I feel like they act like their boyfriend sometimes. Like they'll be like paying for all their drinks and doing, and I'm like, you're not fucking them.
What's funny is
why are you treating them like that?
Two interesting stories. One,
and the girls expect it, by the way.
The girl that girl I brought up before, Jennifer, because she's one of my best friends, there were girls I was dating in my life that were jealous of our friendship, where they didn't want us to go out as friends. Like nothing has ever happened with you, and they would get pissed off. Like, oh, I know you're just probably fucking her anyway. I'm like, no. You know,
well, I had a relationship where he had a lot of female friends. It just depended on our connection and understanding what that dynamic of their friendship looked like. I never felt threatened, and then we became friends, so it's easier. But again, if I felt like anxious or insecure about it, then that's where the problem is. But I had to be secure in the relationship. Yeah.
Communication is the problem. But the other thing that happened with my brother, you know, was same age, but he was friends. They had sex once or twice. And then for the last decade, they have just been friends. Yeah. Right. Nothing has ever happened. I don't know who was. Yeah. Because he lives in Florida. I don't know who.
Wait, is he married?
No. Neither
okay.
one of us.
Okay.
Yeah. But after 10 years, they started dating. Which is wild.
What?
And like really passionately dating.
Oh, wow. That's surprising.
Then she broke up with him.
Oh.
And said that, because I think she wanted him for this entire, I always felt that she was kind of lovesick for him. And so now that he's single again and he feels like he lost his best friend. And
no, for sure. My best friend in college, my best guy friend for years, shout out, you know, we're still friends. It's been a long time, but like he was my best friend and I nursed him through a bad breakup my freshman year, and then he like fell in love with me and he tried to date me for like a year or two, and I was literally like, no, you're my best friend. Like, I'm not gonna ruin our friendship. One night we got absolutely hammered And he made a move and he kissed me. And I literally was like, that was like not bad. And I ran home holding my shoes from his apartment, crying, running down the street. And a girl asked me if I'd been sexually assaulted.
Wait, but why were you crying?
Yeah,
because I was like, we just ruined the friendship. Because I was like, I felt something. You know what I mean?
But does that mean going forward, did you try it? Did you guys start dating?
We dated for years.
Oh,
and then
nice.
we did ruin the friendship because I was a horrible girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, we came back around. I mean, we're not close. But we were friends and we ruined the friendship for many years. And we're still not like close friends. We don't talk all the time or anything like that. Not at all. But, you know, we're aware of what's going on in each other's lives. Like,
and he's married now.
Yeah, he's married with a kid.
Do you think that maybe his wife doesn't want him to have hot girl friends, maybe?
I think that most women, here's the thing. I am not that girl. I'm a girl's girl. Like, if somebody's like, you're making me uncomfortable, like, I have seen so many women in the city that are not that way. And they are pick me thirsty as fuck, embarrassing ass women. And it's disgusting to witness your partner being friends with people like that are trying to upset you. And that dynamic is not for me because I'll exit stage left.
What happened that was weird, and I didn't think anything of it. The girl that I'm very casually dating right now, right? I would say super, like we're both very openly talking about the fact that we date other people. Like it's very And she came with me to a restaurant in Brooklyn because my longest relationship was 7 years, and we're still friends. I'm friends with her boyfriend, and her restaurant is closing and moving. So I thought it'd be funny, unannounced, to show up with 6 people that we used to we dated 20 years ago. Yeah. So I got all of these guys that I used to be friends with that I'm still friends with 20. Under a fake name, we just showed up for dinner. Right? I just thought it was funny because they're closing this weekend, and her and I are still close.
Wait, which place is this?
It's in Brooklyn called Citroën. It just closed.
Okay.
This past weekend. But the girl I was dating came with us because someone dropped out. I said, hey, do you want to come also? So she came, and so it was like 4 or 5 of my good friends, her and me. And my ex-girlfriend is owns the restaurant, runs the restaurant. And I introduced everybody, and she sat with us and talked for like an hour. But the girl thought it was so weird that A, she sat next to me.
Oh, yeah.
And B, there were tables and the restaurant was open. But she sat with us for an hour and ignored everything else. I mean, there's other staff and
Did
stuff.
she acknowledge the girl and talk to her?
We all had a conversation.
Okay.
But I didn't think anything of it. And I'm still not sure. You know, what I say, I'm looking at it from my perspective, so I don't know. But she felt it was uncomfortable.
Well, sometimes you want to sit next to the one person you know. So
she knew all of them, though. She's known them all for 20 years.
Okay, well, you know what?
Yeah, so I think...
I get it.
I did not think anything of it.
Don't be thirsty, girls. Stop it.
But
Stop.
I know her boyfriend. He's cool, too. So I don't know.
But it's like the dynamic is uncomfortable. Like, it's like don't try to make the person that they're with uncomfortable.
Well, for you, you're like, we're just friends.
Yeah, I didn't think
you're not seeing it.
No, you don't see it.
I just didn't see it at all.
No, well, no offense. Women are oblivious anyway.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Sorry, straight men, you're oblivious.
Yeah, we are. But we're lovable idiots.
No, some of you. No, but like, it's about. Okay, so I'll give you a story. I was dating this guy, you know. If you know, you know. I was dating this guy, and he was a little bit of a simp, and he had no idea. And he told me, by the way, beforehand, he has hooked up with several of his friends, that he was friends with one of his best friends because initially he was attracted to her. Mm-hmm. By the way, we could all be related, okay? So, like, you know what I mean?
Same type.
You know what I mean? We're all the same body type, dark-haired, whatever. And so I met everyone in lingerie for the first time.
This part?
But
they were
why?
going to a club, and I didn't feel good. We originally said we were going to go with them, and that's where I was going to meet everybody. It was a House of Yes situation where it was like a...
Oh, it was like a
I don't know.
A lingerie party of some sort.
It was some very weird party at House of Yes. Not weird, you know, I'm not judging, but whatever. Don't come for me.
Was it a sex party?
I don't understand what it was, but all I know is he didn't want to go.
Okay.
And then he was like, my friends are going to go to this. You can meet them. Then he was like, I really don't want to go to this. And I was like, whatever. I'll do whatever. I'm very like go with the flow. If I don't want to do something, though, I will not do it.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like indifferent because I didn't even know what it was. I was just like, whatever.
But he said, look, I don't know what this party is, but by the way, wear lingerie?
That's what the invite said.
Okay.
And that's why he didn't want to go. He didn't want to be like in leather chaps. You know what I mean?
Hilarious.
And so I ended up being sick that night anyways. And he was like, well, they're having a pregame and I really want you to come meet everyone. I was like, dude, I don't feel good. He's like, just come. I'm like, cool. And I didn't know everybody was going to be in their lingerie at that point. So I wore these pants. I wore like sweats. I wear a tank top and sweats. And I was, again, not feeling good. I'm not drinking. I walk into this apartment and there's all these stunning women in lingerie. I'm like, what the fuck?
That's funny.
And he said, and then they were so flirty with him in front of my face.
Did he introduce you as my girlfriend?
Well, they all knew, obviously. I mean, he's not the type of person with like too much game. So like this was kind of a, you know, sorry. I mean, this was kind of like a big thing. Like he doesn't have like a serious girlfriend every day. You know what I mean? Like
again, the oblivious of men. Like why would he think introducing you to his friends when everyone's in lingerie?
No, but so immediately I was so uncomfortable, and I can hold my own, like, you know.
Did he go to the party without you?
No. So what happened was I'm meeting all these girls in lingerie. They're being very welcoming. They're giving me drinks. They are being like kind to me, but I felt uncomfortable. I felt like severely underdressed and like very self-conscious.
Yeah. Well,
and the one girl that he had hooked up with was doing the most to like touch him and like be on him. Like, you look so good in like front of my face. And I was like looking at him.
Was he also in outfits? Was he wearing leather or whatever?
No, but he was not like telling her to like, he was not like, he was like flirting. He was staring at her boobs first and foremost. Yeah, he was not pushing her off, and like later I actually started to get real irritated.
We tolerate a lot over here.
And then they were doing that thing, you know, people do where they're like negging you, where they're like, why aren't you guys coming? You should come. And he, as my boyfriend, is not being like, well, she doesn't feel good and I didn't want to go. And instead he's doing this weird shit where he's like in front of his friends who he's attracted to, and she didn't want to go, doing that, even though it was him. And so I got so angry, and in front of everyone in the apartment, I yelled at him. I never am that girl, but I was like, let's say who really didn't want to go. Like, you're not going to throw me under the fucking bus. And I was super irritated. And after that, I told him, I was like, I don't want to be around your friends. Like, that one girl's literally throwing herself at you. It was embarrassing for her. Why was that happening in front of my face? You didn't do anything. I was like, I'm uncomfortable with this dynamic.
But also, it sounds to me objectively as an unhealthy relationship at that point anyway.
Oh, yeah. No, he was a simp that they abuse. They definitely get what they want from him.
Because also, even if they're in lingerie that day, I can't imagine that she's not as flirty when they're clothed also.
Look,
like, I'm sure it's just as much.
I'm very secure and confident. That dynamic was so tasteless and just gross for me. Like, nobody in that scenario was like, I mean, the girl who lived there had a robe on when we got there and literally took it off. It's like nobody was trying to be like.
Also, did they all know each other? And you
yes,
all
they all knew each other.
Yeah.
Everybody's like vaping inside. I'm like, I don't want to fucking be here. Like, I'm sober as shit.
Are you sober now?
Oh, no. I was that night. Okay. I mean, I don't drink half as much as I used to.
Last night I had one drink and I was tipsy by half the drink. I'm just such a puss. It's really amazing.
At 6'5".
Yeah, I just don't drink. Yeah,
Teresa doesn't drink.
Oh.
I'm almost sober for 2 years.
Almost sober?
Alcohol. Like New Year's will be 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So almost 2 years sober, you mean to say?
What'd I say?
You said almost sober for 2 years.
Yeah, you're almost 2 years sober.
Isn't it the same?
No, because almost sober for 2 years implies that you still drink once in a while.
Yeah.
No, okay.
No,
I've been sober.
Teresa gets fucked up.
Well, I'm California sober.
Okay, so that means you do weed.
Yeah.
You smoke weed.
Yeah.
Do
absolutely.
weed. Makes me shows you how little I know about drugs.
Well, so wait, how can you navigate a friend situation like that if somebody's hooked up?
Right.
Like, I feel like you have to be.
Transparency is what it is.
Everyone needs to know who's fucked, but.
Yeah, I don't want to be walking into a room and I don't know.
He should have the balls to say something to that friend and be like, 100%. You cannot be this aggressive. Like, there needs to be a line drawn. Also,
he liked the attention.
I'm sure he just liked the
he liked
but
of course.
I brought this up because I knew we were doing this topic today. So I went out with the girl that I've been dating. Her girlfriend came with us for dinner, and I brought up this topic to them, and they both said, if you fuck somebody and then it dissipates, then you can be friends, like you said. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's 100% true.
I don't either.
Because I still feel that if you're still into them, you're always going to want that to fucking happen again if you're the guy, for sure.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. I just, to me, the easiest way for me, again, like I said, if it's off the table for some reason, as in, if they're married, I would never want to fucking break up a relationship like that. You know?
That goes without saying.
Right. So that's number one. So it's easier to be friends. But I'm saying when... And I think you're wrong. I think there are people that are just not attracted to each other, men and women. It's easier to be friends that way. You said men.
So you're not attracted to any of your female friends?
I wouldn't. So the 3 closest female friends in my life, I've slept in beds with them. in our underwear, and I fell asleep like that. That should tell you.
Well, men always fall asleep.
No, I disagree.
Ease.
If you were lying in bed next to me, I'm not sleeping. That's the truth.
He's poking your back for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Or let me just massage you, or let me just hold you. That with them,
Tight.
Yeah, exactly. But with these girls, like one of them was my co-host of my radio show.
Yeah.
And she and I, to this day, just nothing but friends. And I think she's pretty.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I would never, ever. And maybe it's because in fact, we started out, I met her on Facebook. Yeah. And initially I was attracted to her. But then we ended up doing a show together. And the chemistry was so good that she became the host of my radio show. And I would never even I never thought about it that way. And people thought it was like, oh, you want to fuck her. I'm like, honestly, I don't. Like, I love our chemistry. And she felt the same way. And it's 20 years now we've been friends. And she was the one where we hosted this rock cruise together, and they ran out of room. So they put us in a room together with one small bed. And that's how we spent the weekend. It was fine. So for me and I don't know if you ever met my producer, Shannon, on SDR show, right? I took her, she was trying to get into shape, and I was taking, I think you mean this. I ran 10 half marathons around the world in the last 10 years. In the last year, 10 of them in different countries. And I mean,
well, it doesn't count because you basically can walk
it's
a
3
mile.
steps. It's just 3 steps for me. But I was going to go to doing one in Hawaii, and she was dying to go. So she'd never been to Hawaii. I said, if you can run 7 miles by this date, which is half marathon, I'll buy you the tickets and you can come with me.
Yeah.
So we've spent the weekend together in Hawaii, and not even for a second did I ever think, oh, maybe something would happen, because I don't want it to happen, and she doesn't want it to happen either. We're friends.
We have a hot take. My hot take is the women hold the keys to the castle. So if we ever decide we're not platonic, let me tell you, if she wanted to, she could.
For sure not.
You don't think so?
You don't think so?
Not at all.
Ralph.
100% no.
I think with any of my male friends, if I tried, they would be more than willing.
Oh, sure.
Yes. I have to be the one to keep very firm boundaries.
I'm not attracted to them, so that's probably it. Even though I think they're attractive, I'm not attracted. I think they're good-looking people. I'm not attracted to them.
Well.
So you can't force that, I think.
I had a boyfriend that said that about his best girlfriend, and guess what?
And
they're married with 2 kids.
There's like 3 or 4 girls I'm thinking about that I've known forever, and I just have no desire.
Well, you know what? You don't know, because the keys to the castle are closed right now. Yeah. So you never know. I
still don't think so. I don't think so.
You know what, guys? Hit our comments with this one, because
I don't think so.
I do feel like women hold the key to the castle.
I mean, one could argue that one of them is Jennifer, that one's off the table. She was kind of with my brother, sort of, 100 years ago.
Well, that's familial.
That's number 1. But then 2 of them I worked with, so maybe I look at them differently because they were...
because of HR.
Because of HR, technically both were my employees, lawsuit. Maybe, And one of them is the cousin of Jen that I'm not as close with these years. She got married. We just don't speak as much anymore. She moved away.
So just circling back to the friendship situation, though. Okay. If you have had sex with a friend and you want to remain friends, doesn't it have to be a situation where you both have a conversation about how it's literally never on the table? Because I've had guy friends where I hooked up with one of my friends, and it's been a situation where it's been like where he makes comments and jokes and I'm like, no, the door is shut.
But we've already established that the door is not always shut. We've already said that. So
it's closed on the woman's end.
But right now.
Yeah, whenever I get bored. No, I'm just kidding.
That's the problem, so that's why what works best is when it's off the table for like marriage reasons or something like that, because then it's much easier if you're still attracted to that person.
Well, if you have a partner, you're single, then you get into a relationship. Is it cool to bring that person around and not say something? Right. I feel like you have to say something.
But it's also, by the way, that's what is an interesting thing that I don't think we've defined yet, which is what do you mean by friend?
Yes.
So to me, I'm friends with any girl I've dated for at least a year. We're still friends, right?
Yeah.
But friends in we're not assholes to each other. We're we're Instagram and Facebook friends. We might say hi. I know their boyfriends or husbands, whatever.
Yeah.
But I would call that more acquaintances than friends.
Okay, so this term friend does get thrown around a lot.
So if you mean like someone that's in your world that you're spending time with on somewhat of a regular basis. I don't really have anyone that I used to have sex with that I'm just friends that hang out with now. That doesn't exist in my life. That does
I
exist.
do.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We hung out for a little bit and would hook up, and then we just stopped. But then like I moved out here and I had a relationship, whatever. I now live back in California again, and we're friends. We hang out. I have no interest in hooking up.
But I'm sure if you texted him right now, hey.
1,000%,
Yeah.
he would go from
That's
6
what
to
I'm saying.
midnight
But
immediately.
Yeah.
The women hold the key.
Yeah.
Of course.
But also, like, I've been around people and they're like, this person is my friend. And it's been maybe a year into the relationship when it comes out that, oh, we actually hooked up like one time, but it doesn't matter. And it's like, well, you don't just trip and fall into it. So, I mean, it's something that I feel like you should always disclose. But there's, I think, this weird mindset with like, oh, if we weren't in a relationship or if it was just 1 or 2 times, it doesn't matter. And I think it matters. I think it always matters.
Especially to your significant other.
Yeah.
If you're dating someone, you should be fully transparent. I think that's crazy
1,000%.
not to be.
Yeah.
Well, communication could be its own episode, honestly, because that's
I think most relationships end because of poor communication. That's really the number one reason.
yeah. Well, I mean, I also think there's situations like, I mean, this isn't real life for most people, but like the friend group in like that show Vanderpump Rules, right?
Never saw
Everybody in that freaking
good
friend
for you.
group hooked up with everybody.
Everyone.
And they were all attractive. And it's like they were legitimate friends though. And it's weird. It's like how, and some of them were like married. I mean, how could you? I've always felt like that dynamic is just so not real life.
I have a friend, I'm not going to say his name because it's kind of a shitty story, but he told me, because Ralph, I don't understand. I've been on like 8 first dates in the last 2 months. Girls just don't want to go on second dates anymore.
What?
I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, not with
Do
him.
you think that women have collectively decided they don't want to go on second dates? Or maybe it's you. Maybe you're doing something. So in that respect, maybe you're gravitating towards toxicity. And you
No,
don't
yeah.
want to
Well, it's hard
it
to
was-
break from old
No,
norms,
no.
You know?
It was
we
a
fall into
whole-
the same things.
Well,
I feel like.
I got out of a very serious relationship and then I started dating a narcissist, which is an entire episode of its own. And I'd never been in a situation like that. And it completely fucked me for like 3 years because we were together for like 3 years. And then I got right into that relationship with a dude who wanted to fuck all his friends. So it was an unwell period for me. But yeah, like everyone outside of that, I'm very cool with. Those 2 back to back, it was literally like I was Hitler in another life. Why am I getting repaid like this? What have I done to deserve this? But no, I mean, so he was best friends, and I'm going to use the air quotes because for the 3 years we were together, I met her once and never again. So best friends, let's not throw it around. But they were best friends. He's like, she's going to come to the city and she wants to meet you. And I was like, cool. They're in their 40s, okay? Just want to preface this.
I didn't know women
And-
could turn 40. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, they're in their 40s. Ralph, don't be problematic. They're in their 40s, and he literally tells me like 2 days before she comes, like, yeah, and she's staying with me.
That's weird.
And I literally, thank you. I was like
It's weird
so
the way
irritated.
till the last moment.
Yeah, I was so irritated. And he was like, what's the big deal? You can stay here too. And I was like, what
That's
the
weird.
fuck?
That's really weird.
And I was
Yeah.
like, we're at a big age, okay? You're at a big age. She's at a big age. I'm at a damn big age. Why is everyone pretending like they can't afford a hotel?
Right.
That
is weird.
And he was like, she's my friend. And he literally laid into me. And then he said the thing you never say to your girlfriend. Don't be insecure.
That's funny.
And I literally, it's like don't relax.
Yeah, relax.
Same
is a good one.
category.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And I was like, it's not about me being insecure. It's about you being completely inappropriate. And if the roles were reversed, let me tell you,
Of course.
if a man that was hot was staying with me and I was like, what's the big deal? Don't be insecure. The way that a man would freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, it was a whole fight. And I think to this day, even though he did, say they ended up staying, she ended up bringing her boyfriend. So her boyfriend stayed with him too. Weird dynamic, whatever. I made my peace. I thought it was like, I was like, it's so uncomfortable for that 45-year-old man.
Does he have a 2-bedroom apartment at least?
No, he has a 1-bedroom. I was like looking at
Fucking
her
weird.
boyfriend like, dude, you should have shelled
That's
out for a
weird. That's really
hotel.
weird.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe they were having threesomes.
I thought it was a weird.
Maybe.
And yeah, his apartment was not.
They
My
call that the
apartment was
devil's
bigger.
threesome.
I will say we've realized that we have tolerated a lot of bullshit for a long time.
Yeah, but also the way that everybody was when I was there was very platonic. So it was like, okay, maybe I did overreact. But then guess what? After that visit, I never heard from her ever again.
You're
and neither
like-
did he. So I'm like, best friend is
Right.
thrown
That's
around
weird.
real light.
I also
Yeah.
think a lot of the male-female friendship dynamic when you're dating someone, how they introduce their friends
Yeah.
is so important. And that transparency is going to really affect the dynamic of how you look at that person.
Yeah.
So he did it about as poorly as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was pleasant and I enjoyed her and I had no problems with her. It was just so big of
I
would
feel
she
like-
spend the night
I
when
feel
her
like-
boyfriend wasn't
It is
coming?
fucking weird.
And she had a boyfriend too.
He was trying to be nice to your feelings, but not really because it was super disrespectful. But
No, he was-
not making you upset.
He was never nice to my feelings.
It is bizarre. Also, at 40 years old, to stay in, what did the boyfriend and girlfriend sleep on the couch together?
Right.
Just
On the
they
stay-
did.
floor.
And
It's
by the
fucking
way,
weird.
he had a very small sectional. I have a big sectional. Two
Yeah.
people could sleep on both sides. It wasn't like that.
And also, I don't ever want to shame people because you don't know anyone's financial situations or whatever.
yeah.
Then maybe just don't come.
Maybe,
if it's going to be you and your boyfriend sleeping on
Yeah,
the floor,
or-
maybe wait for another time.
Well, they live in Philly. You can do a day trip.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean,
that's
it's
a little
a
weird.
90-minute train. I just was this whole thing is odd on all accounts, on all three of their accounts. Y'all are too old for this shit.
But with all I always try to I don't know what it's like. Maybe they're fucking have no money. Maybe, but it's still weird. If it's Philly, it's not. They're not coming in from California for the day. They could go back, take a fucking train if they're not, as opposed to sleeping on the floor. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, and they did stuff without him too. I just thought it was weird. I'm they're using you as a hotel, bro.
So
okay.
you think men and women can be friends if they've hooked up?
Again, if there is the caveats that I've laid out, I think it is possible. For sure. As long as there's those things on the table that prevent it from going further, for me,
Yeah.
it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
I can tell you now, using Melissa, my old host on my radio show, I haven't met her new boyfriend yet, but she's excited to introduce us.
Yeah.
Because we've been friends for so long, and we've DM'd on, not DM, but commented on, I always give her shit on Facebook, and so he's commented on it too, because I'm 50.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, who uses Facebook?
Yeah. So certain friends I do
We
use
found the
Facebook.
demo.
Yeah. It is still, Meta's still pretty the fucking big
We're
company.
not calling it Meta or X, okay? I'm here to say.
Well, Meta owns Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah,
WhatsApp.
yeah, okay, Facebook.
They're a major fucking
Facebook.
phone.
It's
But
called Facebook.
yeah, her and I, because also
Don't be Elon Musk trying to fucking do X.
on Facebook, I have a lot of my old radio friends are still through Facebook because that's what was big at the time.
Yeah.
So that I still talk to them on Facebook. And my mom's on Facebook. Her friends are on Facebook. She's not going to use Instagram. So I always give her shit on Facebook, and he's commented on some of them that he's looking forward to meeting me and shit like that. And so I'm excited to meet them. They're coming to New York soon, and I'm going to show them around, but they're not staying at my house.
Right.
Well, that's, one or
she lives in
two.
Pennsylvania too, so it's a day trip.
I'm sorry. Once you're out of college and out of your 20s, get a hotel room.
If you
Get
can
a
afford
hotel.
it, I don't know. I'm trying to say, I with everything, even when people,
In your
if I
30s,
hear a
you
woman,
should be all right.
if I hear someone, male or female, or in a job that I would say, like a sex worker or someone that's a drug dealer or whatever, I don't know what brought you to that point.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pass judgment because I don't know what it's like. I grew up, fortunately, where I had some breaks that went my way. It could have not gone my way.
Let me tell
So
you.
I don't like to judge on the shit like that.
No. I've befriended when I was in Vegas on my 30th birthday and I had a whirlwind 5-day situation. I made
that's
friends
your second
walking
one so far.
home. I made friends walking home with a prostitute who was super friendly. And she told me how much she makes. And some of these sex workers are making way more than
Yeah,
people
like
with degrees.
OnlyFans girls. An
So
ex-girlfriend
I'm
of
not
mine.
judging. They're making more money. If anything, they should get a nicer hotel.
I mean, to be fair, people who are on OnlyFans are also considered sex workers,
Yeah.
and they're making racks.
Yeah, my
Well, some of
ex-girlfriend
them.
is making
Yeah.
$50,000 a month on OnlyFans right
Are you
now. It's fucking
serious?
crazy. A different girl, but she's making $50,000.
Should I just sell out?
What is she fully nude? What's happening?
Well, you make your money more from the private stuff. You
Like-
don't make your money from subscribers. You make
Okay.
your money from guys will send you awful emails like, "Oh, I wish you would do this, this, or this," and it's not going to be, read a poem fully clothed. It's going to
Yeah,
be
but
something.
then it could be on the internet forever.
Of course. So these, and I think that anyone I've ever met that does make money in sex work of any kind, they're not happy.
Yeah.
You don't want. I mean, maybe it's just westernized programming. I don't know, but I don't think anyone's truly happy doing that. It's just.
Exploiting ourselves for men's
I
gain.
feel
Exactly.
like some people are happy about it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I
And
don't
by
know.
the way, I think
It just means men are creeps. Men are idiots. They shouldn't do it. I've never paid for OnlyFans ever, and I never will. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
well,
And there's a lot of people
I've
who
never
are.
paid for
I know,
it.
it's just
I've never
ridiculous.
paid for
Yeah.
OnlyFans either,
Yeah,
Ralph.
sure.
Well, so okay, if men and women can be friends, here are my rules. Okay.
No sex.
Well, I think no touching outside of a hug, hello.
Fair.
Don't be rubbing up on each other, especially if their partner is in the room. That is so
Absolutely.
inappropriate,
It's weird. Yeah.
wildly weird and inappropriate. your ex is going to be sitting basically up on your lap.
That's weird.
Yeah. Especially if
I
she
didn't think
knows,
about it at the
if
time.
I know everyone at the table, I'm not going to go cater to the man that, the only man at the table that brought a partner. Like, that's very pick-me behavior.
The only one who's seen the vagina. I get it.
But also, like, you read the room when you're a girl's girl, when girls do better, like, because we need to support each other, right? So, like, when you roll up to a table of people that you know, don't make the only girl that isn't in the group feel uncomfortable.
Right. But the funny thing is, and again, my sample size of asking was wrong, because I just asked my male friends after. It was only guys there.
Yeah.
None of them thought anything of it, but it's all dudes. So they didn't think anything of it.
You guys
Again,
are
the oblivion, like
asleep with your eyes open.
Always. It's a fun way to live.
Yeah, I would love.
Sleep with your eyes open, that was good.
I would literally love to come back as a man, just to literally be in my own world.
But I mean,
like that.
playing devil's advocate, like you said earlier, women hold the control to the kingdom of what's going to happen physically.
Yeah.
So thank God men run the world. Am I right?
Hey, put that hand down.
I literally had this conversation with an ex because I was out with a business colleague, and he was like, that's inappropriate. And I was like, well, we're literally friends for like decades. And it's not weird. And he was like, you could cheat on me. And I was like, to be very clear, I could walk out my house, through my lobby, find the first man I found, and be like, want to come upstairs? 50-50. Maybe 60-40, maybe 60-40, 70-30.
Yeah.
Maybe 90-10.
I literally was like, I don't need to do that, by the way. It's easy if I want to.
Wrong. Like, so at my studios, which are over here, right? The first day I went to go look at the studios just to see if it was like the space was going to be right for me. I was in the backyard, and this beautiful girl who lived in the building upstairs starts talking to me, and we're talking. I said, oh, we're potentially taking the space. And she goes, oh, you want to come over for a drink? And it was like in the afternoon, and she was by herself, and I was like, oh, this is a scam. She's going to kill me.
Yeah, that's also
she's going to take your kidney.
Yeah, so I decided,
she's going to sell your kidney.
The only reason why that put it at 10% to your 90% is because of that. Because I was like, no, this is not supposed to be this easy and this good. So I said, no, thank you. I'll see you around, and that was that. So that's why I wouldn't give you 100% that it would happen.
Actually, funny story. I know a girl who
took someone's kidney?
Hooked up with her FedEx delivery guy.
What?
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, how does that happen? Yeah. You're just so familiar with him that you're like, all right, come on in.
The most viral clip on my show was with this porn star, Adriana Chechik. She's a pretty famous porn star. Oh my God, I love her. Right?
Wait.
What?
Yeah. And she told the story. She had sex with her Uber delivery driver. And that clip has I think at this point, 6 million views. And people thought it was bullshit. And it got so popular, the Uber delivery driver saw the clip and he posted pictures of him.
Oh, Jesus.
He goes, this was me. And he showed it. So it really actually happened. So it does happen.
That's hilarious.
No.
I mean, I just know who she is.
That's
yeah, you just know who she is.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, okay. So, all right. If you're going to be friends, you can't.
No touching.
You can't fuck the Uber driver. No. Okay. No, but seriously, no touching. You have to have super clear communication. I feel like going out solo, very weird. Thank you.
Although,
just to get dinner, if both are single.
Who's getting a sober dinner in Manhattan?
Well, I'll tell you this again, using that girl, Jennifer and I probably once every month or two go have dinner together.
Look, I don't think it's weird if you guys have known each other for 2 decades. Yeah. But again, that comes back to...
I go out also with her husband sometimes, just me and him. Him and I are friends.
Well, it also goes back to the level of friendship. Like you said, are you acquaintances? Yeah. Don't go out...
Acquaintances is weird, but she's someone that's been in my... my mom calls her sister. I mean, her daughter. Yeah. So it is
But you know what? As a woman, though, you are sitting there, and I hate to say it, and I'm probably going to get canceled on the internet for this, but you are sitting there she has the keys to the castle.
Not with this.
Keys
I'm telling
to
you,
the
you're
castle.
wrong there for sure. For sure. But maybe
keys to the castle.
I mean, I literally, it's, God, I know her since I'm 17. So it's
wow, that's
a lot.
Well,
yeah, that is a long time. Well, different. If you were out with a girl that you knew for 5 years, that could be if
but
that's
it's also
a friend.
Girl that I'm attracted to. Again, it's all about there are women in my life that I would not sleep with. I'm just not attracted to them that are friends of mine.
Yeah, but what? what men are actually honest about that with their partner? Like, oh, do you know how many men have been friends with ridiculously pretty girls and they'll tell me she's ugly?
Oh, that's stupid. Yeah.
And I'm like, shut up.
You're like, I have eyes.
They're like, oh my gosh, she's disgusting. She's
That's
ugly.
dumb.
First of all, you don't need to tear down your friend to try and make me feel
Better
cool.
at all. Like,
It's not that I feel bad, but like that makes me even weirded out more than you being like, yeah, she's attractive. Like, let's, that would be like someone being like, Hugh Jackman's fat. What are we saying?
just lies.
Don't. Yeah. So like,
lies.
I don't know. I feel like the communication needs to be like on point.
So you're saying no touching,
communication.
no solo dating,
It's situational.
dinners
I think
for
it's a little
business. Yeah.
situational,
Okay.
like 40 years versus
good communication. Any other caveats that you
I
want?
mean, I wouldn't really want my partner sleeping in bed even just
Oh.
in undies,
Yeah.
but
I would know
But that
that's
was
off the
also
table.
for like the few times it happened were unique situations where it was like it's a fucking cruise ship room that's so
Right.
small. There was no other option.
But to be fair, you sound very respectful in all aspects
I
of
try
being
to
a
be.
male friend.
Yeah, you're not the norm.
Yeah.
You're the
I'm a
you're
creep
the
also.
exception.
I mean, I'm definitely all
He's
men
still
are
a
creeps.
man.
Yeah. But
Most of the women
This
I've
isn't the
dated in
rule.
the past years is from me reaching out on Instagram and DMing. So that's how I meet women. Yeah.
oh, I've never
Someone
taken.
did. Also, because I had a blue check back when you couldn't buy one, and so if I DM'd a girl and they saw I had a blue check, like, ooh,
They
why
were-
do you have that?
Yeah.
Or why do these famous people follow you? And so that's how I would. And it's stupid, but it would work.
Yeah.
Of course it would
no.
work.
Yeah. My worst story, and I've gotten so much shit for this, but whatever. Instagram used to recommend that they're dropping hashtags now, but when they were pushing hashtags, they recommended that I follow the NYC hashtag because I've liked photos with NYC in it. And I made the realization that I was liking photos from girls that just came to New York for the first time.
Oh my God.
And we're saying, we're here in New York.
Oh my God.
And so I realized if I follow that hashtag,
Yeah, you look like a sex trafficker.
and I just DM them, basically, and I DM them, hey, I'm a great tour guide in New York.
oh
if
my
you need
God,
one.
sex trafficker.
And
That sounds so
It's so creepy. And
Holy
I've
shit.
talked about it many times. And yet I've met gorgeous girls I ended up dating because of that stupid moment. I can't
Oh
do it
my God,
anymore because
no.
they don't have hashtags anymore.
Well, it's also
But-
like sex trafficking.
That is
Right,
so.
Thankfully, I don't do that anymore. I don't sex traffic.
Thank God.
Oh,
I
thank
don't
God.
sell women anymore. No, you can't do it anymore anyway. Because also back then you could DM someone and it would go into their
Regular
Instagram. It doesn't
inbox.
do that anymore.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
The good
don't
old
get me
days. I
started
call
on
it.
social media. It's a wrap. Someone needs to come out with a new platform. But okay, those are my 3 rules. Do you have any additional rules for men and women being
Honestly,
friends?
just communication and boundaries. That's really it. I have another situation where, again, hooked up before. Sorry. And,
am I the only person that like has not hooked up with my guy friends? Like literally 2.
It was like a casual dating thing. And then now, like, we're still friendly and I just don't have a desire to be intimate with them anymore. I want to be friends.
Mhm.
That's it. Like, they might have a harder time than that for me, but like, I'm very verbal. I don't want to just hook up. I don't want to
Right.
hook up with you. I don't want to casually hook up really anymore. So,
But I still think, given what you guys said already, that guys hold out. Well, maybe that situation. Because I think
yeah.
I still
Yeah.
believe any man and any woman could end up dating. Any man,
Yeah,
any woman.
that's
There's no
the
one that's out of
thing.
anyone's league. And just because you were friends today doesn't mean you're friends tomorrow. And that's why men hold out hope, because we're all idiots. And it just seems like, all right, maybe there's that 1/1,000,000th of a chance that you're in the right place at the right time. One of my friends, I'm not going to say the people, but he had sex with this super famous actress, right? Super famous, way out of his league actress. Why?
Yeah, she's having a bad day.
She broke up with her boyfriend in the club, who was also famous.
Oh yeah, she was having a bad
Yeah.
day.
And on the
See,
way out,
there's always a
Sad
rule.
girl.
yeah,
She held the keys.
he comes out of the club. He goes, "What?" And I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna say his name was John. It wasn't? It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
what did John fuck up? And she started laughing at that. And then they started talking. And then he went home with her and had sex with her.
Yeah, well,
So-
she was on her revenge
Right.
journey.
In any other capacity, that would have never fucking happened.
Exactly.
So that's why men hold out hope all the fucking
Well,
time.
yeah, they're
will-
waiting for us to have a bad moment.
Right.
Yeah, because also that second conversation of me trying to put in boundaries, he's still trying to like kiki and kiss me and stuff. And I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
we just talked about this. I don't want this.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Everyone's wishing that she's having a bad day.
And there are
Yeah.
girls that I was friends with for 5-7 years that all of a sudden one day
Yeah. Well,
something
this is
changed.
my thing with the solo dinners, because I've been in relationships before where they're like, she just broke up with her boyfriend and she's so sad. Okay, cool. I'll
Yeah,
come.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I can give her some good ass advice.
Yeah, better than you. You don't
Yeah,
need to be her
what
sounding
are we
board.
doing?
Let her cry on somebody else's shoulder.
Look, I sound like I hate women, and I promise you I don't. But I think that there are some women that really also feel like there are some women that are friends with men and they have no desire for them until they see them dating a hot girl.
It goes back to
and they're
the
like,
value
I
thing.
want that toy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't playing with it, but now I want to play with it. And I can feel that vibe. I'm sure you felt that vibe from girls before, and we're very aware of it.
Right, but that goes back to what I said at the top of the show, that value related to men is what a lot of, not all again, but some women find attractive. It's like all of a sudden, wow, that hot girl likes that dude.
Yeah, what does she see in him?
That's why sometimes
maybe he's great.
It's good to have hot girl friends as a single guy, because you go out in club or you go out to dinner with a really beautiful girl, you now have value that they may have not perceived as value.
Oh, I would just assume that you're dating her and I would never talk to you.
Fair.
We don't compete.
We do want to hear from you guys in the comments, though, of like how you guys think about men and women friendships. If you've hooked up, if you've been put in the friend zone after, we want to hear about it.
If I've DM'd you on Instagram.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, like can men and women truly be platonic friends? And you let us know.
With no caveats.
Yeah.
That to me is impossible.
I think it's impossible. Yeah. But you tell me, I'll maybe believe you. Thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget to
Ralph.
Ralph Sutton.
At I Am Ralph Sutton. The podcasts are the SDR Show and the Good Sugar Podcast. And my company's called Gas Digital.
Okay.
Amazing.
And then, of course, don't forget to follow us at MissJudged Podcast everywhere you find us. And
5-star reviews.
Yeah, only 5 stars.
Share it with your friends. Share it with your boss.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.